Another day in the NBA, and the work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see the top plays are, the top value plays are. We'll also go game by game. We'll check the ownership along the way, see where the leverage lies. We'll hop over to Stokastic, run a sim, see what the top ROI lineups are. I'll do a hand build. And by the end of this video, guys, you'll know all of the industry's must plays, along with my splash plays for today, March 3rd, 2026. Let's get into it. I hope it was a good slate for you guys. Yesterday was not a great one for me. Julian Reese really boned me, which is going to be a key theme of today's slate coming up again, because Julian Reese looking like mega chalk in the data. We'll see that in a moment. He was, quite frankly, I would say, based on what I saw watching that game last night, along the results that we got with him playing 27 minutes, putting up, I believe, 11 fantasy points, the final number. One of the worst fantasy plays of the year last night was what Julian Reese ended up being. And yes, learned in chat yesterday, Angel Reese's brother. But we're going to talk about that when we get to top values. He's not a top value for me today, but he's going to be about a 50% owned play. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. We got Big Russ here already getting ahead of things. What content do I provide for MLB? Well, you're going to see when it's MLB season. It's not MLB season for like 3 more weeks, but I've been building stuff out on splashplaypodcast.com. Of course, get your access now for NBA, and you'll have it for MLB as well. It's all one tier for everything. But planning to do videos at 12 p.m., I think, every day for MLB is going to be my goal, as long as there's a slate that I want to cover. If there aren't, we'll see, but my goal is to do 5 days a week for MLB, so stay tuned. But we got to get through NBA for 3 more weeks first. A lot more headaches between now and then. But let's go amongst the top projected plays today. So we got a bunch of guys ruled out, like Joel Embiid. That's why Tyrese Maxey, one of the most obvious plays here today. You also have Kelly Oubre out, Paul George still out for the Sixers. For Wemby, though, he's your top projected play with no help needed. Nobody out of note for the Spurs, but facing a depleted Philly team gets them a good total today. Wemby getting 52.2 fantasy points for me, 51.9 from Stokastic. That means 17% ownership for the field, and I'm getting 15. So, Wemby in this spot, like I've talked about enough times on here. Tyrese Maxey, generally not as good of a player with Joel Embiid off the court. It's one of those things where the spacing gets a little bit worse. You're taking Oubre off as well. You're taking Paul George off as well. And Maxey, we can pull up the, well, you want to go to Wowie this fast? Let's go to Wowie. Why not? I feel like if I'm making the point about Maxey here, we can do it. But the big thing here with Wemby, and it's going to go hand in hand because they're in the same game today, is that, for the Philadelphia 76ers, it is going to be a depleted roster today. Being down Embiid, he's going to be out the next few games. Oubre got downgraded to out as well. Paul George. So Tyrese Maxey in these situations with these 3 guys out, putting up 31% usage, which is more than the season average. His assists go down a good amount, though, only 6.3 assists per 100. He's actually shooting pretty well, 63% true shooting. So Maxey somewhat better in the sample size than I would have thought. I think taking McCain off is what might make him worse as well, which is odd. You wouldn't think McCain being off would hurt him. But he does shoot a little bit worse. Fantasy points per minute pretty steady at 1.3. The big thing for Maxey, though, let's take all these guys back on here. You know what? Maxey's rates have leveled out now enough where he is producing better per minute with those guys off. So, you know what? I have to take it back, because there was a stretch where Maxey was under in a bunch of categories, but the usage having come up, I still have concerns, and it's more, I guess, anecdotal than at this point that is a real data thing. For Maxey, he has underperformed a lot. When we have the depleted Sixers squads, you can go back, box score watch if you want to. I know it because I get Maxey a lot whenever we have these situations where there's at least one Sixer out, if not multiples. But for Maxey, he does tend to play down a little bit, and if he doesn't play well, the odds of a Sixers blowout, or them getting blown out rather, is so much higher. That's what worries me a little bit about Wemby here, is I think it's going to be a team that's really easy for Wemby to get some stats while he's out there, get some blocks, get some easy shots at the rim. You're going to get Drummond and a Dembona. Obviously, for Bona and Drummond, you could also stretch him out too if he does start to shoot some threes and hit them. But for Wemby, I worry that this game is not going to be as competitive as it might seem, and that's something that is maybe my own hang-up with Tyrese Maxey at this point, given the data we just looked at. But Wemby right now, highest projected guy, getting him at 17%. Maxey, number 2 guy, getting him at 37% for the field and 28% for me. So right now I am low, a little bit on Wemby, low a little bit more on Maxey. But this game, I just don't know that it's going to be a smash game environment here. And I guess that's really it. Real fast, I want to see what the spread is. Philly is 7.5 point dog at home. It could be worse. It could be worse. I don't know. Sometimes you have these biases that we all. And this is the thing we talk about. You always want to look at the data, defer to the data, not just my own projections I'm creating, but also your rates we see, things like that as they evolve throughout a season. Sometimes you have your priors kind of carrying over, and I would say for this matchup, I definitely some priors, just how I view the Sixers and how they don't show up to games like this when they are shorthanded. I appreciate the kind chat from Robert Griffin Turd. Hello, you handsome fellow. Yes, indeed. We're working hard here, feeling more and more handsome as the winter ending, I think, helps a little bit here. I feel like I'll get some vitamin D in. That's going to be really good for my handsomeness quotient. Cade Cunningham, 11K salary, facing Cleveland. Again, a depleted Cleveland roster. No Mitchell again. For Cade Cunningham, you got about a 50-point projection right now for me, 52.4 from Stokastic. Going against Cleveland, you do have a spot where Cleveland is only a 2.5-point dog at home, so expect that to be a more competitive situation. So for Cade, getting 4 quarters of running against the Cavs team, definitely a ceiling there, but 11K, he's the most expensive guy in the slate. And as you guys know, if you watch the streams regularly, Cade is one of those players that my data always a little bit low. Today, about 2.5 fantasy points lower than Stokastic. So it's hard for me to make the case for Cade. I play my data. That's sort of what I think the fun of the enterprise is. But with him getting 36 minutes right now, I don't have him being a smash play. Fields 16%. I think it's appropriate. And I think my good friend Josh Engelman said on the show, amidst pointing out Tyler Smith, my boy from NBA 2K this year, he's on the Mavs now. Appreciated that shout out from Josh, both for me and for Tyler Smith. But he had pointed out, on his show, talking about, ceilings and things like that for players and how important it is, for this slate to be mindful of the fact you play whoever you want. For this slate, you can see the ownership here. Really only Tyrese Maxey picking up an appreciable amount of ownership, coming up even more with Oubre out. But for the rest of these guys, you have a bunch of pay up options around, 15 to 20%. So if you like Cade today, there's really nothing blocking you from playing him, but I tend to see it as like the ownership is flat because none of them are really great plays besides Maxey on paper. Anthony Edwards right behind here playing the tanking Grizzlies. $9,500 salary for Ant, not the best. That said, my projection is 0.5 higher than Stokastic's. 18.5% ownership for the field on Ant. I've got him at 22%. Obviously, a big ceiling always possible for Anthony Edwards, but full strength Minnesota team going against a Memphis team that probably does not need to face the T-Wolves for 4 quarters necessarily. It's not stuff that makes me fall in love with Anthony Edwards here, but I'm getting him above the field, so cool with that. I think he's a live pivot to Maxey, but really hard for me to love him. He's just not as good of a value play. Desmond Bane, I do love, though. Shooting guard, small forward, eligible, 7,600. And also, we'll quickly point out here, too, guys, I am now integrating all of FanDuel data, which does look different today, so keep that in mind. But if you are one of the FanDuel people that's always like, please cover FanDuel, I am now covering it, not on the show quite as much, but here, if you go on splashplaypodcast.com, you can see all of my data updating for FanDuel as well. So I updated all. It's a little bit more work for me, but enough of you guys asked for it. So, of course, still going to be mostly covering the DraftKings forward side of things. Still talking about, rates and minutes and all that as we go. But if you guys are FanDuel, I'll say sycophants again. If you are locked in on FanDuel, not playing DraftKings, check it out because my data now works fully and is updated fully for FanDuel as well. Desmond Bane. How does he look on FanDuel? A little bit worse on FanDuel here. But Bane, the big thing that comes up when you take off Anthony Black and Franz Wagner, both guys will be unavailable today for the Magic. Let's go over here. And it is going to be a key difference in my data today compared to Stokastic's, is I'm giving more love to Desmond Bane. They're giving more love to Paolo Banchero. We got Desmond Bane here, putting up 1.25 DK points per minute with Franz Wagner and Anthony Black off the court. Franz out, Anthony Black downgraded to questionable, but according to the beat reporters and the head coach, expected not to play today. So it's kind of surprising that he's not doubtful. That said, for Desmond Bane, best producer on the team per minute when you take these guys off the court. Mo Wagner at 1.2, that probably matters a little bit less. Goga Batadze at 1.2, matters a little bit less. Jalen Suggs at 1.1. You'll notice who's all the way behind here, Paolo Banchero, and that's with him shooting 52% true shooting, which is even worse than Paolo Banchero normally does. So you expect him to shoot a little bit better. Desmond Bane a little bit above league average true shooting in these minutes as well. That probably helps him out. But it does stand out to me that Bane, so far ahead Banchero, Suggs so far ahead Banchero, That's going to be a meaningful difference to me on the slate where I'm getting Bane more. You're facing Washington as well, where there are some more peripherals to go around, but my team Desmond Bane today. Right now, the field's getting 16%. I'm at 34. Bane, my projection as well at 41.8. Stokastic has been at 36.3. Think he gets more minutes with Anthony Black being off the court. Think he gets more opportunity with Black and Franz Wagner being off the court. The fact that he puts up about 3% more usage with than Makaro, in that sample size, I think is noteworthy. So it's kind of stuff that I like to play as an advantage if I can do it. Bane today will be 2x the field play for me at 7,600. Paolo Banchero, so still about a 41.5 projection for me, which is about, almost 6 fantasy points lower than Stokastic has him. Not a big Banchero guy, as you guys know. Generally, I like high usage guys, like guys that get some rebounds and assists like Banchero does. But the fact that he's not a great shooter, the fact that he's terrible from three, all that stuff does hurt. Banchero in my model for the most part. Fields 25% Banchero. He's facing Washington, so I don't want to poo-poo the ceiling, but I think if you can naturally, for me, have my projections guide me to getting more Bane, less Banchero, and the field's going to be higher on Banchero. Those are the plays that I sort of let my data come out in the wash in. But if you want to play more Banchero, he's going to be owned about 25% for the field. That said, across 100,000 contest sims right before the show, I only got him in 13% of my winning lineup. So I would favor Bane here. Banchero, obviously a ceiling there. I don't want to totally rule him out, but I think you get different today by playing more Bane, less Paolo Banchero. Chet Holmgren, 14% owned by the field. I'm getting 17%. Never the biggest Chet Holmgren fan, but today we have no SGA. We have no Hartenstein as well. So that does make Chet Holmgren look like a much better play. No Jalen Williams still for OKC. Facing Chicago doesn't hurt either. $8,500 salary for Chet Holmgren doesn't hurt either. But I guess the biggest case I could make for Chet Holmgren is that normally you guys know I don't get Holmgren a lot on these shows. Now I'm getting him above the field. So I think it's a good Chet day today with my projection being dead even with Stokastics at about 41.5. MPJ, nothing really benefiting him situationally here. The Nets kind of doing the same thing over and over again. Where have his minutes been lately? Let's see. Of course, my new minutes tool here. If you guys join at splashplaypodcast.com, Squirt Squad tier and VIP tier both get access to this. You can see the last 10 games of data, as well as how they performed if you on-hover or click the thing as well on mobile. But I got MPJ, 30 minutes last game, 26 before that, 30 before that. So minutes mostly steady around 30 if the game's competitive. Theoretically, can get to the 33 that he got last time out. For MPJ, though, the big thing is going to be that he does get the opportunity uptick in the rates that he's had all year long with Cam Thomas no longer on the team. Fields at 3%, Michael Porter Jr. These are the kind of spots where I think he's worth taking the shot on. I'm getting 4%, so not a big stand here in MPJ. But I do think when I play some lineups, if I got 5, 10% MPJ, it looks like it's a bad move facing a pace-up team against Miami. Yeah, Miami just might blow him out, too. That's entirely a possibility, but MPJ sometimes has like 45-point days and 3 quarters of play. I think it's a possibility here versus Miami. Bam Adebayo rounding out the top projected plays here, about a 40.9 projection for me, 41.4 from Stokastic. They get to be 13% Bam, Fields a 10. Not a big Bam fan, but you're facing a Brooklyn team here that's not particularly good. Miami as well. I'm sure getting a pretty good total with 120 implied points. So I think for Bam Adebayo, not my favorite player in the world, but at 8,300, if you're not paying up for Wemby, not paying up for Maxey or Cade, you can afford multiples of these guys in this range. And I think my data is giving me more of that kind of balanced build look a little bit more today. We're going to sort by value here, guys. Before we get into that stuff, please make sure to help me out here. Hit that like button and subscribe. And you guys always show up in a major way, but don't let down. Don't let up. I guess that's a better way to say that. Don't let up. Let's keep fighting the good fight against that YouTube algorithm by you guys hitting that like button and subscribing here. And really, the more views I get, the more it helps out the overall picture here. More revenue on YouTube. More people that can sign up at splashplaypodcast.com and see all the cool data I'm building out. If you're just doing hand building or if you're building 150 max on a site like Stokastic, use my data in concert with that, and you do a lot better in DFS. But right now, I'm asking for likes and subscribe. So let's plug that part first. Please support the channel here. Hit that like button, subscribe. We'll keep growing things as best we can here. Check out Stokastic as well. All their data, all their tools, 15% off the promo code SPLASH over there. And of course, that's all their sim stuff. It's winning people money night after night. Guys winning 100K multiple times in the span of a couple of weeks. You see that happening with Stokastic avatars. So check it out for yourself over at Stokastic. 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. Idiot proof, great DFS lineups. Go get them for yourself right now. And again, you want to support the show, $5 here to join the channel on YouTube. You can also pay for the membership at splashplaypodcast.com through YouTube if you want, though it is more expensive. But the big thing you can do is go to splashplaypodcast.com right now. Join and get $10 off. Compared to those YouTube costs, it's actually a little bit higher, or a little bit more savings for you, rather, when you compare it to like Apple's charge if you buy through your phone. or just, I think honestly the rates, I didn't do the math super big. I just put get $10 off, and it seemed close enough, but really it's more than that depending on the package you're getting to. So check it out, $20 a month for my Squirt Squad tier package, and that's for NBA, for MLB, for NFL, VIP package as well for NBA, MLB, NFL. That's $40. So check it out at splashplaypodcast.com. And of course, when you guys sign up over there, it does support what I'm doing here. If you guys, literally, if all of you guys who watch the video signed up, I would be fucking, woo! I'd be gambling more than you guys can stand the stomach. But if like half of you guys signed up, I'd still be really stoked. You could do the work here, feel good about it. Could also pay for some APIs to make things better. I was actually playing with prediction market stuff today to try to make another tool that I can help you guys out with. So that's what I'm trying to do here. The more memberships we get at splashplaypodcast.com, the more I can do. So that's the goal on the channel. So please check it out at splashplaypodcast.com. All right, top values today, man, the thumbnail, Kason Wallace, a guy we've gotten right on stream a few times, a guy that one time absolutely shit the bed when the Thunder were depleted. He did not show up here, but the rates overall do support going to Kason Wallace generally. I'll save us an NBA Wowie visit real fast. For Kason Wallace, it does take a jump up in usage and an assist rate with SGA and Jalen Williams off the court. About a 19% use rate, 23% assist rate, one flat fantasy points per minute, and that's with 51% true shooting. So theoretically, he should get better in that category. But this happens a lot where we see a guy who kind of plays poorly in small sample sizes. Then we talk about, hey, this guy's going to shoot better at some point. Then he starts to put it together. That's literally what Kason Wallace has been with some of the games he's put up lately when the Thunder have been down at the very least SGA. For Kason Wallace, he's shooting guard, small forward, 5,600. Again, the field's at 42%. He's coming up 65% for me. I also have him about 4 fantasy points higher than Stokastic. So Kason Wallace today, one of the hills that I'll be dying on, but the field's dying on it too at 42% ownership. So I am team Kason Wallace yet again, but not a unique take by any stretch. I do think I have his scoring, though, a little bit higher. His PRA is a little bit higher as well. Quentin Grimes at number 2. Getting more minutes expectation here. 30 minutes of the projections right now at a $4,300 salary. You have no Kelly Oubre, so definitely opening up more on the wing, though certainly Grimes, you could see more minutes go Justin Edwards' way, that tier of guys on the Sixers. But right now, Grimes for me at 26.2 fantasy points for Stokastic at 26.7. So I'm low on Quentin Grimes. What a day. How things change in 1 year. Right now, the field's at 48%, though. I'm getting him at 49. And again, for Grimes, too, no Embiid. That helps. No Paul George. That all helps, too. So Grimes, not to me the player he was last year. When you have Maxey in, when you have VJ Edge come in, it's just not the same situation. But, you can get a taste of that, I think, for Grimes today. Even though, I think for me, feel a lot more confident in Kason Wallace being a priority play for a core as opposed to Quentin Grimes. Shout out the chat, Sue. Appreciate all the kind words. Guys saying hi. Glad you could fill your lineup today without having anxiety from the Kings, Grizzlies, and Jazz for once. Yeah, Kings only on the late slate, so you got that. But look, I like those teams because it opens up value, but you still have teams that are going to, not try very hard, or still have some Q tags as well for guys like Washington that we'll talk about in a moment. So there's always going to be a tanky team on a slate. Just got to accept it and embrace it. Number 3, you have Alex Caruso, $3,900 salary, getting a minutes uptick as well with no SGA here. Caruso, one of those guys, not super productive per minute, but can hit a ceiling at $3,900 on a slate without a lot of great value. He does come up pretty meaningfully. Right now, my projection's about 2.1 fantasy points lower than Stokastic, 22.7 for me, 24.8 for them. That still gives me about 17% ownership, though, fields at 12. So even though Caruso lower in my data, he does look like a winning player today, mostly because he's a value at small forward, and we don't have a lot of value anywhere. And small forward also a position that's not that great. Isaiah Joe, shooting guard, 26.6 projection for me, 26.1 from Stokastic. That gets the field 18% ownership, 25% for me. Isaiah Joe is kind of going through rates, not rates. It's more like how much guys are shooting in the mid-range. I was curious to see across the league what players are doing that. Really no real reason to do it. Sometimes just get intellectual curiosity, and that's great. For Isaiah Joe, though, he just never shoots mid-range. He doesn't really shoot at the rim either, just shooting threes. That's sort of the volatility of Isaiah Joe. Like, yeah, he can grab a few rebounds, assists, the occasional steal, but in reality, him having a good day, he got hot from 3. Him having a bad day, he didn't get hot from 3. The Bulls, one of the worst 3-point defending teams in the league, so I think Isaiah Joe, worth whatever exposure you get, feels at 18%. But if I'm getting 25, I'm cool with that. I do think Isaiah Joe, though, not the kind of player I like a lot because he does just kind of have to hit threes to succeed, and normally we want guys, they could miss 10 shots and still get there. Isaiah Joe is not that guy. Anthony Gill. So Anthony Gill didn't play yesterday for Washington. We saw Ton of minutes for Julian Reese. If he weren't gassed and weren't awful, he probably could have played even more of the 27 minutes that he played yesterday. But Anthony Gill getting 28 minutes of the data right now. If he were to play, he's got an illness. I'd expect him to start. If he doesn't play, though, you'll get Julian Reese again. Julian Reese, not a top value for me. For Stokastic, though, I believe he would come up as the number one guy. So for me, I would favor taking Anthony Gill at 4,500. Think he is a better player than Reese. I had so much Reese yesterday, played him at 75% because I just thought the field wasn't going to get there. I was willing to roll the dice. Gotta say, again, visually, results-wise, the worst fantasy player I've seen this year is Julian Reese. I don't think it's going to hold every day, but like the stats he got to were just like lucky bounce kind of stats. And granted, he's facing Orlando, he's facing Wendell Carter Day, he's not facing Alperen Şengün, who is going to box out and do stuff. But like, if Anthony Gill plays, I think you want to go Anthony Gill and really avoid Julian Reese. If Anthony Gill doesn't play, I think you just got to look at Julian Reese again. And I'll play him with the field today because, like, I lost my money on him yesterday. He's 3K minimum salary again. You roll that dice. But I think Anthony Gill's the better play. And he's really not coming up for me. I'll get him at 1% right now. Field's at 0.5. But the field's expected to own Julian Reese 53% right now. So something to note. That's not going to come up here because he's not a top value for me right now. That's Anthony Gill. Trendon Watford getting more minutes on paper with no Kelly Oubre. 21 minutes is what he's getting. Watford lately, what has he played? 15, 11, 15. So you're expecting at least 15 here no matter what, given that they're down more bodies. Not the biggest Trendon Watford fan in the world. Again, not great producer in any category, but a 2% ownership, getting 12% of him at 3,300. Very live pivot to your Julian Reese's if he is going to be 50% plus owned. Khalil Ware at 4,900. The minutes for him also kind of hit or miss. Going over to the minutes tab a lot, but it really is helpful to see the stuff right away. Ware played 29 minutes off the bench last game, 12 before that, 19, 18 before that. So a little bit tough to pin Khalil Ware down. That said, if he does play more minutes against Brooklyn, can smash. So down to get more than the field of Khalil Ware at 4,900. Field's at 6%. I got 12. Obviously, there's a massive ceiling for Khalil Ware. And if he does play well, he earns more minutes. So it's kind of thing that you don't expect him to play a lot of minutes. So if he were chalky, we wouldn't want to be there. But knowing that he can play 29 minutes, even off the bench, it's good stuff for Khalil Ware against Brooklyn. Sharif Cooper, 21.5 minutes here in the data right now. Really a 1% play. My projection, though, is about 4.5 fantasy points higher than Stokastic. So for Washington, you have no Keyshawn George today. You still have guys like Bilal Coulibaly and Bub Carrington in. So guys like Sharif Cooper not getting unencumbered run or anything. But Cooper benefiting from some of the lack of bodies at this point, along with some of the 10-day guys no longer being around. And VG Edgecombe running out the value plays here. 17% owned by the field. I've got him at 24%. My projection, 2.4, higher than Stokastic as well. If the game's competitive against the Spurs, Edgecombe can play like 40 minutes. Lately, he's been playing a ton of minutes as well. Saw that before the show. 40, 39 last two games, then one game at 30, then 37, 35. So the minutes coming up for him lately in a major way. Taking Oubre off makes that even more of a likely outcome. But that said, for Edgecombe, same concerns I have just in my own kind of mental way of viewing the game. I just don't know if the Sixers can hang in the spot. But if they do, Edgecombe will play a lot of minutes. So good value right now. Field's 17%. I'm getting 24. And here's your FanDuel top values. Looks pretty similar, but Jalen Williams comes up more. But that's how FanDuel looks. If you want to see that data updated, check it out for yourself at splashplaypodcast.com. We're going to go game by game, guys. Before we do that, please show some love. If you got any value to this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And it goes a long way for me here. I'm just one guy showing you my work today, every day across the NBA, soon every day across the MLB as well, or every weekday rather, across the MLB. And of course, I do the best I can to prepare for these shows to make the tools better, make my data better, make my process better, make the content better for you guys. So I do appreciate if you guys could show some love back by hitting that like button and subscribing so we can try to keep building that YouTube view count. And, amidst the dying NBA DFS world where DraftKings won't even give us our $5 tournaments anymore. It's sad, but, we got to keep doing the work here still no matter what. Check out Stokastic as well, 15% off. Use the promo code SPLASH over there to get that money off any package, weekly, monthly, even yearly, all that stuff. Even their all-sport packages, you get it for 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. And, of course, their tools, their data, helping people win hundreds of $1,000s multiple times a week at this point, no matter what sport. So check it out over at Stokastic, 15% off NBA data and even NHL data, MLB coming up. It's all going to do really well for you over at Stokastic with that 15% off and the promo code SPLASH. And last but not least, join my site, splashplaypodcast.com. In fact, many could say most, but also most, Join slashlightpodcast.com. Really, if you enjoy this content, you want to see me do more, and you want to see me also bring on, really would love to hire a second person to help me out so maybe I can get to 7 days a week of content. Would love to also have some help on updating things, but right now it's all me. So show some love if you can. Let's keep building things out here. Join at splashplaypodcast.com. You get $20 a month, $40 a month. You're getting all the stuff I get here on screen. So check it out for yourself at splashplaypodcast.com. All right, let's go game by game here, guys. Let me take a sip of water here because, as you guys know, sounding like the Micro Machines man, I feel like that's the boomer reference to go with. It's not easy. All right. We got Dallas at the Hornets, 231.5 combined points. Not the most appealing game in the world, even though Cooper Flagg's still out. Najee Marshall joining the Mavericks' unavailable players. But we're getting P.J. Washington back in, so it kind of comes out, no pun intended, in the wash for Dallas right now. Stealing for Brandon Williams is possible. That said, 6,100, you're getting everything you pay for. Fields at 5%, I'm getting 4. Chris Middleton, ceiling is there as well. He's going to stay a part of the Mavs now that buyout window has passed to join a playoff contender. $5,400 salary for him. That said, projection's only a 4.5x spot. Not seeing it for the Mavs here. And we got a lot of games to talk about, so let's save some time. I think there's some props out there that look decent for guys like Max Christie. Like scoring in particular, points props for him looking not that bad. But for how it looks for the Mavs, should look better with Najee Marshall and Flag out. Hornets on their side, 122 implied points. Big total for the Hornets here. Losing Najee Marshall probably just hurt the wing defense pretty appreciably, for Dallas. For the Hornets, getting Brandon Miller a good amount. Fields 29%, I'm getting 27. At 7,500, there's a big ceiling there. Brandon Miller, if he just hits his shots, like he can put up 50 in a game. So I'm cool with Brandon Miller. He's one of those guys really have to get used to. Like he always pops up a little bit in my data. Right now I'm under the field technically, just based on him making only 27% of my winning lineups across 100,000 contest sims. But I do him at 1.26 fantasy points per minute today compared to his usual 1.16 average. So with that total, some of the expectation here is that Brandon Miller could have a ceiling day. LaMelo Ball getting 28 minutes in the data. That does give him a ceiling for sure. With only about a 40.9 projection, though, at an $8,500 salary. LaMelo not a priority. Fields 12%. I'm getting 13. Again, ceiling is there for LaMelo, but really seems more than appropriately owned. Knipple about a 10% play. I'm with that. A little bit low on it, but dead even projection-wise at 34.1 with Stokastic. Moussa Diabate, 10% owned by the field. I'm getting 14. Even though you have guys like Tyler Smith joining the roster for Dallas, they are still, really bad center rotation. I say that that's mostly like half a joke. I didn't sell that like a joke. But like the center spot for Dallas is pretty bad. So Diabate hitting a ceiling, you could see it happen. But 10% owned, I'm getting 14. It's not a bad stand on Diabate. And Dallas is bad enough that maybe you can grab some extra rebounds with that double-double a little bit easier. But Diabate not a priority play at 6K at this point. Detroit at Cleveland, another game where we're not going to have a ton of ownership. Cade's the big one here. Fields 16% with the Pistons having 115.5 implied points. Not a bad total, but not a great one either. Cade, to me, definitely always has a ceiling. I don't want to totally avoid it, but at 11K, you are paying for that fully. Jalen Duren playing really well lately. Now he's at 8K. Don't know that you want to chase that too much. Keeps beating, adverse conditions lately in a lot of matchups, like that Spurs one a couple games ago. There's been a few since then that I'm now... There's one I feel like that was also like the Thunder maybe that they play. There's another spot where I was like, why did he had a good game here too? I got to look it up now on another screen just so I can be accurate about this. Duren had big games. Oh, against Cleveland. Duh. He went for almost 70 against Cleveland. He did suck against Orlando. He was down to 37 fantasy points versus Orlando. But 48 versus Spurs, 54 versus OKC. So I was right on that as well. 67 versus Cleveland. He's facing Cleveland again. I'd expect him to hit 70, that much. But yeah, for Jalen Duren, I think there's still a ceiling there, and he just put up 70 against the same team. So you want to take that shot at 8K, you can, but the field's 6%. I'm getting 5. Oh, no. Anthony Gill out. Everybody excited to say this one. Yeah, I guess Julian Reese season again. Man, he really was awful. Like, I don't know if it's available for free, but if you have League Pass, condensed games, I encourage you guys to watch a condensed game of Julian Reese, and you'll watch a player who's like just running around out there. And when he gets a rebound, it's legit. Like, he doesn't grab a rebound. He gets a rebound because the ball bounced and it landed in his hand. He got like 3 steals too. He got steals because the ball bounced and went right in his hand. he was like so inept, and I'm sure he'll play well today because I'm saying this out loud. But like, fuck, man, I really don't want to play him again. That was awful. I was like, oh, he's only 33% owned. He's 3K minimum salary, and then he got 28 minutes. Like that was the nut run out, and man, he was terrible. He was terrible. Seen enough of his sister. I wish he were Angel Reese. Like I said it yesterday, if he played like her, we would be so stoked. That's like young Andre Drummond is what Angel Reese plays like. But he does not. He does not have her bag. He does not have her bag. Cleveland. James Harden, 6% owned. I'm getting 4. There's a theoretical ceiling for James Harden. That said, his usage has not gotten super high with Donovan Mitchell off the court. It's a game where Mobley's in as well. So I don't really see it for James Harden at 9,200. If he were cheaper, I'd take that shot. But his projection under 40 for me. So not really a guy to be a priority. Evan Mobley, same thing at 8,200. You got Harden there. I don't really see the point to go to Mobley. Fields at 3.5%. I'm even with that. Jared Allen, 2.2% for the field. I'm at 1.8. He's been really good lately, but getting Mobley in does decrease that opportunity a little bit, as does his price tag now, being just shy of 8K. Yeah, ugly game overall. Should be really a playoff kind of environment, and sometimes you do see the offenses overcome. Tough defense in those spots, but yikes. Dallas at the Hornets here, 231.5. Combined. Wait, what? Hold on. Why did this import twice? Okay. Well, that's fucked up. Oh, you know what? I pasted in my data wrong. That's on me. This is not on the site. I pasted my Vegas. So I was wondering like why I had more games importing. So we're just going to show up multiple times. Doesn't matter. All right, let's go down here. There we go. All right, now we're good. Washington, Orlando. I just basically pasted those games in 2 times. That's on me. This is why I need AI to do everything. I fuck up. You get the Wizards at Orlando, 227.5 combined points here. Wizards, Will Riley playing a ton of minutes at 8% owned. That's going to matter a little bit. I'm getting 7% of Will Riley. Julian Reese, though, is going to be the big one. 3K minimum salary. He played 27 minutes yesterday. Anthony Gill being out. He's going to be locked in most likely to 24 to 27 minutes. Could play 30 theoretically. Reese, I got to say, decent cardio, like for a big man to come in and play that many minutes of positive, but he wasn't even good in the G League, which somebody pointed out in chat yesterday, and I still ignored when I played him yesterday. I thought it was advantageous to get to Reese because he was only 33% owned. I got him in 75% of lineups. Today he's going to be 53% owned, and that number might come up now with Anthony Gill out. I don't know that he's a league average player, and I think the projections you're going to get from sites like Stokastic are going to assume that he is. They're giving him 22.6 fantasy points, and that was with Anthony Gill in. Julian Reese is going to look very hard to fade in the data. All I can tell you is what I experienced firsthand. Like, I have a class action suit against Julian Reese right now, and Angel Reese. Loop her in too. It's a RICO case now. He was that bad yesterday that I just need to warn you guys that he was that bad yesterday. Doesn't mean he'll be that bad today. Maybe he'll look at the film and go, man, I was so bad yesterday. Let me go nuts. I'm going to really attack the boards. But holy shit, man, he couldn't move Şengün. He couldn't get around a box out. He couldn't get blocks, even when the guy had the ball behind his head. Like, he couldn't do anything. So I am low on Julian Reese philosophically, even though now it's going to be hard to avoid him in the data. Orlando, on their side, to me, like we talked about, low on Banchero, high on Bane. Made the point already that Bane gets more usage with Anthony Black and Franz Wagner off the court. Doesn't mean that'll hold up forever. All the opportunity in the world for Banchero, but the ownership is higher for Banchero, so I'm cool to naturally be low on him. Fields at 25%, I'm getting 13. Fields at 16% on Bane, I'm getting 34. Tristan da Silva will get more minutes as well now, with Franz being out and Anthony Black. Fields at 14%, I'm getting 18. This is not the way to view it when the field's playing a guy at 55%. This is you got to keep in mind, George. And for all you guys reading the chat, this is not the take to die on the hill of. I get it. Again, I could tell you firsthand, he was fucking 3K yesterday, and I played him, and it went really poorly and killed a lot of good lineups. I had a lot of Houston stacks that got murdered by having Julian Reese. So, yes, he can hurt you. I can tell you because it just fucking happened yesterday in the same situation, the same price tag. Ooh. Jalen Suggs, 12%. I'm traumatized by it. It was like, I felt like I had such a good game theory play yesterday because of the same reasons, but like just lived through it less than 24 hours ago. Wendell Carter. Actually, no, Suggs we didn't talk about earlier. Jalen Suggs shaved his head. Now he's going to play better. 12% owned by the field. I'm getting 18. Jalen Suggs getting 28 minutes looks pretty good. 6,400. Getting good rated uptick as well for no Anthony Black, no Franz Wagner. And like we showed earlier, Jalen Suggs is a better per minute guy with Black and Wagner off the court than Paolo Banchero is. Doesn't mean that holds forever, but it does mean that's been the case so far this year. And Wendell Carter rounding it out here. I mean, the fact he's facing Julian Reese, you can do whatever you want against him. You know, Şengün started terribly in that game, still put up a ton of fantasy points in a row. I mean, for Wendell Carter, it's honestly one of the best matchups he's going to have. The field's at 8%. I'm getting 6. Not a priority play right now, and I can't imagine he becomes more of a priority. Even though, you know, the matchup does get better with him, or for him right now. The guys are missing. So to be fair, it's about your process, Georgia, was really what annoyed me. It's not about his day. I'm cool losing money on a guy and it being plus EV, but like you're saying things and it's like you say things and they're not rooted in reality, and it drives me nuts because, like, again, just the same situation that's happened yesterday. Trust me, if he plays like that again, he can still kill you. That's all I'll say. Nets at Miami, 226.5 over under here. For the Nets, 106.5 implied points. Nothing net side here looking that good. Michael Porter Jr. at 3% ownership. Massive ceiling there if it does go his way. But like I just mentioned before for him, don't think the field's going to be there too much. And for me, Simlines, if I'm not getting him in a major way, really hard for me to make a big case for him. To be clear, I don't think Reese is like good, but like if I were playing WNBA DFS, she'd be incredibly good because she's putting up doubles left and right. But she's not good in terms of like efficiency or anything. Like, I would like to make it clear, I'm not defending Angel Reese. Is she a beautiful woman for a double threat? Is she a beautiful version of Andre Drummond? Yes. Is she good at basketball in the way that I would define it? No. Would I play the shit out of her over her brother? Yes. I think relative to DFS slates. Miami 120 implied points here. Nothing really special. I don't know why there's going to be that much ownership. Andrew Wiggins, 13% for the field. I'm getting 13. I think the price tags work, and there is a theoretical ceiling for these guys. Tyler Hero, 11% for the field. I'm getting 5. Bam Adebayo, 10% for the field. I'm getting 13. It's just a good matchup and a good total for Miami. Khalil Ware, too cheap at 4,900, but he could also just play, 17 minutes and not get more. I think there's ceilings for the Heat. They're the kind of guys you mix in one of them into a tournament lineup as your way to get lower owned. I think that's cool. But in terms of being priority plays, core plays, not so much. Yeah, I'm happy to give her a compliment. I just want to be clear that I don't think she's good at like basketball. The way that I view basketball, like to me, like the platonic ideal, let's take the foul stuff off. Like the best basketball players like SGA or Jokic, like those are the guys to me where it's like pure efficiency. Every time you're out there, you're doing something. When you take shots, you're making them. When you're not taking shots, you're creating assists, you're creating takeaways, stuff like that. Those are my ideal players. That's not Angel Reese. Angel Reese, like the Andre Drummond comp, I think is the perfect one. Like, would I play the shit out of Andre Drummond in a lot of DFS slates back in the day? For sure. Would I want Andre Drummond to anchor my championship team? Don't think that's going to work super well very often. But maybe she could get there. She's young, right? Knicks at Toronto, 222.5 over under here. This game's got really nothing, so we could skip past it pretty fast. Obviously, when you see this much ownership here, or this little ownership, tournament options for sure. You have something breaking here, the game environment breaking in a way that's unexpected. Certainly, if you game stack and get that right, could be great. But on a big slate like this, the Knicks to me seem like a team mostly forgotten. I'm low on everybody. Nobody above 5% owned. It seems like the way it should be. Brunson, though, has a real ceiling, so getting a little bit more here, not a surprise. It's only 3%. Raptors on their side, nothing too great here. Barrett, 7% owned by the field. I'm getting 3.5. Really competitive game on paper. Raptors, Knicks, the kind of teams they have. Both teams should be, if not Eastern Conference title contenders, playoff teams. I think that competing for something. For the Raptors, though, not seeing it either. I think it's really just one of those spots where the game total looks awful. If you're playing Vegas totals like we mostly are, it's not going to look that good. But if things break weirdly, game stack of these guys, you have a lot of great fantasy producers that today, relative to the matchup, look bad. Spurs at Sixers. Wemby, your top option here. Game total is pretty good at 232.5 combined points. Wemby, to me, seems like the priority option. Again, my concern would mostly be that the Sixers don't show up here and get smoked. With only a 7.5 point spread, you can theoretically assume 4 quarters of play. But Wemby at 17%, I'm getting 15, not a priority play. And the pay-up options for me overall just seem a little bit less appealing than building slightly more balanced. Stephon Castle, always one of the guys that looks good in my data. Fields 10%. I'm getting a slightly higher version of 10%. He can rack up assists pretty easily against the Sixers if they don't show up here. Their wing defense should be worse as well. with no Oubre out there. Dylan Harper Fields at 8%. I'm getting 7. Ceiling should be a little bit higher for him. Facing a Sixers team is going to be pretty bad in that second unit. His Spurs hard to prioritize, really. Devin Vassell plays 30 minutes a game. Like, he keeps hitting the random ceiling days occasionally lately. He can always do that, but he's a 4.2x value. How do you make it a real case for him? You mostly wouldn't go further than Wemby and Castle. Harper, maybe. Sixers on their side, being down Embiid, being down obviously still Paul George, Oubre as well, bit of a surprise. Means the price tags are favorable. For Quentin Grimes, getting 30 minutes of the data right now looks really good. Fields at 48%, I'm getting 49. Getting Grimes, to me, not the same player this year with the amount of guys he has around him that regularly get shots up. But right now, at him about 0.9 fantasy points a minute, accounting for who's available today. He doesn't have to be old Quentin Grimes right now at a $4,300 price tag. Tyrese Maxey should get all the minutes he wants here, basically all the usage too. That said, he is, generally going to be, look, the fan sports minute are better with Embiid and Paul George off the court now. So he's put up enough good games that I got to throw out my priors. I still have seen enough good games, though, where he has played really shittily. When a team that's playing him has decent wing defense and he's, your top option when the Sixers have been down multiple guys. So that does worry me about Maxey, but I think with his ownership at 37%, I don't want to be out on that. So I'm getting 28. If I got dead with the field on it, I wouldn't be mad at it either. But I do think Maxey going to be your obvious pay up option play as like really the only good, value option amidst all of your expensive guys. VJ Edgecombe, Fields 17%. I'm getting 24. I do think his price tag, much like Grimes, a little bit too cheap as opposed to Maxey. I think that's still mostly an appropriate price tag. And then Trenton Watford is a value. To me, the only other major stand here. Fields 2%. I'm getting 12, mostly because he's 3,300. But Drummond, okay play. The issue is, like, does he really get more minutes than Adem Bona? Don't think you can guarantee that. Dominic Barlow, not guaranteed minutes either at this point, either, for any real way. Yeah, kind of Maxey or bust here, but I do like Quentin Grimes, your value option, 4,300. Thunder, a lot of guys popping up in this game against Chicago with 227.5 combined points. Thunder's total is at 119, one of the better team totals on the slate. We have no SGA today, no Hartenstein, still no Jalen Williams. So Kason Wallace to me looks like the priority. Getting 42% owned by the field. I'm getting 65. Still think he's due to shoot better overall at 53% true shooting. League average, around 58%. But Kason Wallace does sometimes have that, that not so great floor. He has been better lately in these spots that we saw rack up with SGA out. So I'm willing to go back there, but the field's owning Kason Wallace a lot. My rates support him. He is about 4 fantasy points higher for me than Stokastic. So Kason Wallace definitely gonna be a splash play today, even though, man, it does worry me a little bit. That's why I have the skeptical face, because Kason Wallace does hit the floor sometimes, and it can be bad when he does. Jalen Williams, 32% owned by the field, getting 26% for me. He looks like a better play on FanDuel, I think, with his price tag being lower there. But at 5,100, 1.06 fantasy points for me, and the projection, I think he looks pretty good, especially if he starts. We'll feel a little bit better about it. Isaiah Joe, 18% owned by the field. I've got him at 25 as a value at 4,600. He looks decent. If better value opens up, though, I think that would certainly make Isaiah Joe look less appealing. Jared McCain, Fields at 15%. I'm getting 11. Jared McCain, never my guy, but he has been better on the Thunder. Still shooting well under league average, though, at 54% true shooting. Chet Holmgren has a ceiling for sure going against Chicago, especially with their lack of bigs. Very blockable team. 14% owned by the field. I've got 17. Not the biggest Chet Holmgren guy, so for me to get him above the field, I'm always surprised by that. Aaron Wiggins, decently owned here, though I am low on him. Fields at 14. I'm getting 8. Caruso, Fields at 12%. I'm getting 17. And Kenrich Williams, Fields getting 10%. I have 8. Even Lou Dort, Fields at 6%. I'm getting 8 as well. Thunder mixing in a lot because it's a bad team they're going against for the Bulls. Good total as well. And you're down multiple guys. They're not priced for that right now. Bulls, 108.5 implied points. Not a lot to love here. Josh Giddey, revenge spot. Maybe he goes nuts again. His minutes have been up lately. Getting only 27 minutes of the data, though, but it's 7,800. He does have a ceiling if the Bulls somehow stay competitive here. And it is only a 10.5 point spread against them at home. Could be worse. For Buzelis, 11% owned by the field. I've got him at 10. Biggest rate winner overall in the Bulls, I would say, from the guys they've traded away from the team. But really for the Bulls, don't see it in a major way. You got Buzelis as a decent value. Leonard Miller, a very long guy. I feel like he looks good in a basketball court, even though probably due to shoot worse from the field. Yeah, I don't like the Bulls that much. Rather. But I feel you can make a case for Miller, can make a case for Trey Jones a little. These guys are decent values. And Buzelis, same thing. If these guys are like, this team's competitive, Buzelis, Giddey, Miller, Nick Richards to some extent, Trey Jones, they all could have, decent days. Even Okoro, playing 32 minutes in the data. Could be something. Grizzlies at T-Wolves, 237.5 combined points. I believe this is the best total on the slate right now. That said, the Grizzlies, hard to love anybody. Ty Jerome played 24 minutes last time he played. I assume that he might play that again today. He's only getting 21 minutes of the data, though, so hard to love him at 21 minutes. He's been producing 1.6 fantasy points a minute. I've been producing 1.63 today. But even with that, don't think Ty Jerome, a screaming play, would take, if it's still available out there, though, over 5.5 assists. We're seeing that as very plus EV. Based on my numbers I was playing with before to try to build out that prediction market tool. T-Wolves on their side, because of the really big total they have going against Memphis. You get some Anthony Edwards. Fields at 19%. I'm getting 22. Julius Randle, 10% for the field. I'm getting 14. Big ceiling because of that Vegas total. If it does hit the outer bands of what that total can be, like you could have multiple T-Wolves putting up ceiling days here. Kind of like the Rockets yesterday versus Washington would be a good example of that. DiVincenzo, 5.1x value. Fields at 9%. I have 13. Rudy Gobert in this kind of matchup. If the Memphis Grizzlies just missed a ton of shots, you can see Gobert put up a double-double pretty easily. Also get some good shots at the rim with how small they are. Gobert at 6%, I'm getting 18. Jaden McDaniels, I'm getting 9%. The Field's at 5. T-Wolves, I think a decent team here. Ant, the obvious one people are going to get to. But I think these secondary pieces, they have as much of an opportunity to put up a big day here. And Ant, I think the ownership kind of covers what that ceiling is. And that's the main slate here. Of course, do have night slate data for DraftKings and for FanDuel. So if you want to check that out for yourself, here's a quick little flash of it. You can. Of course, make sure to check out some of my other data as well. If you join the site, the player matrix, let me pull up the Stokastic data here. Again, for FanDuel and DraftKings, you can sort by sim rate. You can sort by the price tags, the value metrics, all that stuff here. Night slate, main slate for both sites now. Check it out for yourself. I'm running the sims for all of them when I do updates. And then, of course, simulation data, I'll show you guys real fast here as well. Before we hop over to Stokastic and run their sim. So my top sim plays right now on DK. Kason Wallace makes winning lineups 65% of the time across 100,000 contest sims. Quentin Grimes, and it says 50K here, but it is 100. I think it forgets the amount. Quentin Grimes, 49% winning lineup exposure compared to the ownership that he has. It has been Bane, 34%. He's making winning lineups for me, so that's your top 3. On FanDuel, it'll be Kason Wallace, Jalen Williams, and Rudy Gobert as my top sim guys. Guys who score 30 plus the most, Wemby, Cade, and Maxey. 40 plus the most, Wemby, Maxey, and Cade in that order. 50 plus the most, Wemby, Maxey, and Cade again. 60 plus the most, still Wemby, Maxey, and Cade. Guys who 5x the most, Kason Wallace, 90% of the time does it. Khalil Ware, 83. Caruso, 83. 6xing the most, Kason Wallace is at 67% of the time. Quentin Grimes, 50. Alex Caruso, 48. And on FanDuel, it's Jalen Williams, Caruso, and Kason Wallace, 5xing. And 6xing is Wallace, Caruso, and Jalen Williams in that order. But all this data, again, updates throughout the night. Check it out for yourself. My new minutes tool. All the stuff is available for you guys at splashplaypodcast.com, so check it out. I'm going to plug it more in a moment. Let's go over to Stokastic. Let's run a sim here. And let's see what we get. Of course, on Stokastic, we're going to build out 5,000 lineups, have them compete 10,000 times. Looks like their data just updated as well at about 2:30, so hot off the presses here. But guys, show some love if you can. Hit that like button and subscribe. You guys know the deal here. I show up and do the work as best I can, no matter how big the slate is, how small the slate is. I show up and do the work Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. with my data, with Stokastic tools as well, to show you guys everything I possibly can to give you an edge on the slate. Of course, I keep doing that work in the hopes that you guys will show that love back by hitting that like button and subscribing here so we keep fighting the good fight against the YouTube algorithm. Of course, check out Stokastic as well. You're going to see their tools right now on screen, but get it for yourself updated throughout the night when they update things. And there's always things moving around the NBA. As you guys know, you want to see the most updated data, and that's a really important part of the process that people sometimes forget. They build their lineups at like 3 p.m. and it's like, don't fucking just leave that, like change that a million times over when you have to. But check it out over at Stokastic. Again, promo code SPLASH gets you 15% off, and that's any package, weekly, monthly, even yearly. And last, and some could say most, splashplaypodcast.com. That's my site. Check it out for yourself. course, if you join over there, you get much cheaper access to the site than you get through YouTube. You still can sign up through YouTube if you want. If it's easier for you, please do that. But sign up through splashplaypodcast.com because it saves you money, saves me money, and you get access right away with your email. So check it out, splashplaypodcast.com, $20 a month or $40 a month if you want to see all the things I have across the NBA, soon across the MLB, NFL as well. The data I have, college data mostly / last year's stats. But check it out for yourself at splashplaypodcast.com. All right. Top ROI lineups according to Stokastic. We got Jalen Suggs, number 1. Isaiah Joe, number 2. Brandon Miller, Paolo Banchero. Julian Reese makes it. Oh, boy. Dylan Harper, Alex Caruso, Victor Wembanyama. Number 2, Cade Cunningham, Quentin Grimes, Alex Caruso, Paolo Banchero, Julian Reese again, Kason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Bam Adebayo. Number 3, Jalen Suggs, Quentin Grimes, Kason Wallace, Tristan Da Silva, Victor Wembanyama, Isaiah Joe, Alex Caruso, Tyrese Maxey. No Julian Reese. Hooray, though he is in all these other lineups. Number 4, Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Joe, Caruso, Jalen Williams. Cool with all these guys. Julian Reese, oh boy, VJ Edgecombe, Kason Wallace, Tyrese Maxey. And number 5, Cade Cunningham, Javon Carter, Leonard Miller, Paolo Banchero, Julian Reese again, Tyrese Maxey, Alex Caruso, and Isaiah Joe. A lot of Cade, a lot of Wemby. So you're just getting basically one of those guys in every lineup. You're still getting some Maxey. And you're getting Julian Reese. Oh, boy, you're getting Julian Reese. How many minutes did they give Julian Reese? I presume they took out Anthony Gill on that update. They're still giving Julian Reese about 26, 27. Oh, and Anthony Gill is still in the data. So never mind. They haven't even updated for him being out. So he's only going to get better in Stokastic data. I pray for us all tonight. Top ROI players right now, according to Stokastic. Number 1, Alex Caruso, 8% ROI. Number 2, Julian Reese. Number 3, negative ROI, but still, number 3 overall, not Franz Wagner, Moritz. I'm going to go by his full name. Mo Wagner. That's what we should call him. Jalen Suggs at number 4. Rob Dillingham at number 5. Dillingham, huh? Okay. But Julian Reese, if he had a positive ROI already in the data, got to think that's going to come up. I mean, his ownership will come up too with Anthony Gill being out, but holy cow. Let's favorite our top 150 because I forgot to do that part. Highest exposed players across the top 150 lines from Stokastic. Alex Caruso, 73% exposure, Fields at 19, 54% leverage on Alex Caruso. I like Caruso too. It feels like a big stand though on a guy that they don't have to play a lot of minutes in a game that might not be competitive. Kason Wallace, 44% owned by the field. You're getting 69. Very nice number. Obviously, I do like Kason Wallace. Like, I think I'll be above the field on him. Can't imagine him being in less than half my lineups, than being shooting guard, small forward. And my projection is, about 4 fantasy points higher than Stokastic's. Quentin Grimes right behind him, 52% exposure. Fields at 49. It's not a big stand on Quentin Grimes, but he is good value at 4,300. Julian Reese makes 51% of lineups. They have him being only 15% owned. Again, he did fail miserably for about a third of the field yesterday, so that does maybe keep the ownership in check a little bit. But with Anthony Gill out, I just don't know how Julian Reese will not come up to like about, in their data, 24, 25 fantasy points, and at 3K, that makes him, it's going to make him like in every lineup play. And I question Julian Reese an incredible amount. Isaiah Joe, 40% owned in their top 150, Fields at 22. So Stokastic giving you a good amount of Isaiah Joe. Just ahead of Paolo Banchero, who they're also giving you 40% of. Cade Cunningham, same thing. Highest leverage plays, Caruso, 54% more in the field. Julian Reese, 35% more in the field. Kason Wallace, 26% more in the field. Cade Cunningham, 19% more. Isaiah Joe, 18% more. Your biggest fades in Stokastic's top 150. Jalen Williams, the Y, getting negative 13% leverage. That's only 24% exposure. Fields at 37. So it's a fade, but he's still making a quarter of the lineups. Kenrich Williams, negative 11% leverage. I don't really see him being a play on the slate either, with Holmgren, Jalen Williams being in. Con Knippel, really not playing him at all. Negative 9% leverage, barely getting played across the 150 set. Desmond Bane, they're fading. I really don't agree with that one. Negative 8.5% leverage on Bane. Only 5% exposure. Fields at 12.5%. I think Bane's a really strong play today. And Khalil Ware, fading him as well. Negative 8% leverage, only 4% exposure. And the Fields at 12. All right, let's do a hand build here. I'm going to remember to switch the screen today because whenever I forget the day before, I really try to remember the next day. But let's do this part now. Let me pull up the projection matrix over here. Of course, you do get the projection matrix with all my projection and sim data at splashplaypodcast.com on the Squirt Squad tier. So check it out. Very cheap way to see all that data and try to make the most of it. All right, point guard for me would be Quentin Grimes right now. Maxey to be number 2, so happy to get there. but that's how that looks. Not really wanting to play anything underdog right now. I think they're going the wrong way as a company. They didn't treat me well last year. Now they fire, what, a fifth of the workforce to build more prediction market bullshit. I'm not supporting underdog. I'm actually very close to not streaming underdog drafts at all this year. So I appreciate you guys that still want to play there. I think for me, it's a kind of an easy choice when I'm not getting site credits and I'm not being paid to do. I just don't like working with certain companies. So might not do underdog this year at all. But I appreciate you asking. But yeah, not a thing I care about very much. Especially playoff basketball in particular for NFL, for NBA, really not something that's a priority for me, but I appreciate the asking. Point guard, Quentin Grimes. But I really do think, I'll say it more loudly, I really think they're doing scumbag shit. Again, I think they treated me really poorly for somebody that had to deal with like violent threats from users 3 times that were their underdog users. They also like were really terrible handling my deal in the first place, didn't reply for a month. So if people deserve to get laid off, you know, maybe. But yeah, like them laying off staff to do prediction market shit, them cutting draft game staff as well. I don't think it's a time to invest more in underdog personally. Even though they'll make more money than ever, but like they're not going to treat draft games well. And you know, more power to, you know, the people out there still making money off it, like whatever. But that's the thing. I don't think I'm going to do anything pre-draft with underdog at least. And if I do anything, it'll be just BBM probably this year. But even that, I don't know. I don't really want to. Shooting guard, Kason Wallace, I think is going to be the choice for me. So we got Grimes at point guard, shooting guard, Kason Wallace. Sorry for the deviation for people that only care about NBA, but I know people care about underdog, and I can give you many reasons why I don't anymore. I think for small forward would be Desmond Bane. Sim doesn't like him, but I do. So I am going to put Desmond Bane here. Hope we get a positive ROI around him. Power forward, my highest sim rate guy. Power forward's awful on the slate, by the way. If you don't like Paolo Banchero, it's Jalen Williams, Tristan da Silva, Chet Holmgren, Julius Randle, Wiggins, Trendon Watford. Ugh. I'll go Jalen Williams here at power forward. Center, Rudy Gobert. Wemby, I guess I could afford Wemby. Are people going to play Wemby and Maxey together? I think they might, but I'll try it. Oh, no, I can't afford Maxey now if I play Wemby. 3,300 each for the last 2 spots. I think we got to come off Wemby. We play Maxey. I'm going to go Gobert instead at center. Hope he cleans up against Memphis. 5,150 left for my last 2 spots at forward and utility. I think it's Da Silva or Brandon Miller. Let's go Da Silva, try to build a little more balanced. Then a utility. 5,900 left. Naz Reid, Jaime Jaquez, Santi Aldama. So nobody really projects that well. I hate the end of this lineup. Really. What if we don't play Maxey? I'm just going to go down all the way. Let's go Suggs at guard. Forward, Brandon Miller. Is it going to make this any better? Then utility can be Josh Hart, Ty Jerome. I can roll the dice on Ty Jerome. All right, the team we built out here. We got Quentin Grimes, Kason Wallace, Desmond Bane, Jalen Williams, Rudy Gobert, Jalen Suggs, Brandon Miller, Ty Jerome, 11% ROI, 0.1% win rate. I mean, again, Stokastic does not like these guys in their data as much as I do. I'll take out the guys that they don't like and run a sim. Take Suggs too. I think it really doesn't like 5/8 of my lineup. Let's complete this lineup this way. So we're playing Grimes, Wallace, Jalen Williams. It puts an Alex Caruso, Julian Reese, Tyrese Maxey, Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren. I mean, it's just a completely different lineup, obviously. 67% ROI, 0.1% win rate. All right. I mean, look, you saw what was a not great sim. That's the one I liked more. You see what's a good sim here in their data. They love Julian Reese, and it's not going to change with the update for Anthony Gill being out. But guys, I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day. Before I do that, one more ask. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Again, no matter what's going on, I show up and do the work about as earnestly, as honestly as I can here to show you guys everything I'm looking at for the NBA. And of course, that means a lot of work on my end, but I show up and do as best I can Monday to Friday for you guys at 2 p.m. So please show some love. Hit that like button and subscribe so I can keep building what we're trying to do here at Splash Play and at splashplaypodcast.com. Check out Stokastic as well. 15% off all their data, all their tools, 15% off. We use the promo code SPLASH over there. When you're paying, that's when they ask you for it. So sign up, check it out for yourself. And that's any package, really. All their sports, weekly, monthly, even yearly, all that stuff's 15% off the promo code SPLASH. So check it out, get a package for yourself, and start building better idiot-proof DFS lineups no matter who you want to play on a slate. Even if you want to play Julian Reese, they're going to tell you how to do it. They're going to tell you to do it a lot. And check out Splash Play as well. Of course, my site, splashplaypodcast.com. Make sure to check it out. All the things that I show you here on screen, you can get for yourself updated throughout the night and updated really laboriously, where I didn't want to do a 10 o'clock update last night, and I still did for you guys that are playing the night slate. That's what I'm doing right now, splashplaypodcast.com, building things out for DraftKings as well, for FanDuel now too. Soon going to have some stuff for prop markets as well, at least prediction markets. I'm going to keep testing that in the back end to feel, I want to make sure there's like no latency on it. I'm just trying to figure that out now, but there's always things being developed at splashplaypodcast.com. MLB rolling out too in a couple weeks. That's pretty much ready to go. All right, splash plays of the day. Kason Wallace has to be one. Quentin Grimes, the value, I think, has to be one, even though I'm just holding hands to the field on him. He's going to make half my lineup, so to me, that does constitute a splash play. Desmond Bane is one I really disagree with Stokastic on. I think the rates that he's shown with Anthony Black and Franz Wagner being off, it's a noteworthy jump up across a really good sample size of like 900 possessions. So I am team Desmond Bane today. Fade Banchero at least a little bit. Play some more Desmond Bane. Yeah, Suggs not quite a splash play. Man. Just trying to go through one more time. Really not a lot of guys I have like crazy exposure to besides that. Kason Wallace, Grimes, Bane. I mean, Maxi's gonna make a good amount of my lineups, but not above the field. I would say more macro, just rolling the dice on the OKC secondary value as well. Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe. We saw, Caruso, who was popped up at Stokastic data. Like just trying to get those guys above the field across the board. Kind of what my data is screaming. I know it's not the most concrete splash plays today, but I'm doing the best I can. Things are going to update as the day goes on, guys. Stay tuned at splashplaypodcast.com because I will update when things do. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on the Splash Play channels. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets on YouTube, at Splash Play Pod on Twitter. You can always see whenever I'm about to go live. And of course, I'll see you guys again soon. So, hey, enjoy your days. Good luck. And really, be careful, Julian Reese. That's what I'll say. Play him in half your line. You want to play him in half your lines. Don't go an iota above that. Because that I get. That's the, 3K minimum salary guy. But man, never gotten more burned by a player than Julian Reese. It's been a while. And you guys know I play some dog shit. Julian Reese, yesterday. That was the worst. But we'll see how it goes today. Enjoy your days. Good luck, guys. See you soon. Bye.